In this video, we're starting a new series for creating complete dashboards step by step. Today, I'm going to walk you through the process of creating a comprehensive Power BI dashboard for a car insurance company. Whether you're a beginner or looking to brush up on your skills, this step-by-step guide is designed to help you practice and get hands-on experience with creating dashboards in Power BI. By the end of this tutorial, you will not only have a solid understanding of how to build an effective dashboard, but you'll also have a complete project that you can proudly add to your portfolio. This is a fantastic way to showcase your skills to potential employers or clients and stand out in the competitive field of data analytics. So grab your laptop, download the project files through the link below, open up Power BI, and let's get started on this journey to creating an impressive car insurance dashboard together. Also, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the bell icon so you don't miss any of our upcoming tutorials. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, so we're gonna start from scratch. So let's open a blank report here in Power BI, and let's start by saving the file and giving it a name. So we'll press Control and S on our keyboard, and let's navigate to the location where we're going to save the file. And I'm going to save it as car insurance dashboard. All right, so I've saved the file. So now let's start importing the data. So we can import the data by using Power Query. So here, when you create a new report, you can see here that Power BI is trying to help you and give you a head start. Here, there's an option to import data from Excel or from SQL Server. You can also get all these options here under Get Data. You'll see different options for importing data, and if you click more, you will also see all kinds of data sources. So our data is in Excel workbooks. So I'm just going to choose here an Excel workbook, and we're gonna start with our customers table. So we have a table containing a list of our customers. So we're gonna import that here. The table is in sheet 1, as you can see. We're going to select sheet 1. Here is our data, and we're going to click on transform data because we're going to import more data, and we're going to call this customers. This is going to be our customers table. As you can see, we've got a customer ID, customer name. Let's check. And you have our date of birth here, and the date of birth is actually is not an integer. It should be a date. So we're going to switch the data type here to a date. As you can see here, we now have the date of birth as a date, and we've got the address, phone number, email address, gender, marital status, and they all seem to have the correct data type. Now we're going to import one more table here. So we're going to right click here, new query, and we're going to import our insurance claims fact table. So this is our fact table that contains the insurance claims that were made in our insurance company. So as you can see here, here's the data. We're going to click OK to import this data, as you can see, and I'm just going to name it fact claims. This is our fact table here, and as you can see here, we have our policy number, customer ID, vehicle ID, policy start date. We're checking the data types. The premium amount should be a currency, so this is going to be a fixed decimal number here. And there is also payment date, payment method. Okay, seems good. Coverage type. The agent ID is the ID of the agent. And then there's the region ID, policy, term in months. And there's the deductible. The deductible should be a currency. This is going to be a currency here. And then we have the claim date, claim amount, claim status, claim type. And the claim amount should be a fixed decimal number as well. All right, so now we've imported our insurance claims table, and let's import one more table here. So this is going to be our regions table. And as you can see here, we're going to import the different regions, which are the different US states here where the claims happened. And this is going to be our regions table here. let's also import one more table, which is the vehicles table. So we're going to right click here, new query from an Excel workbook, and we're going to import our vehicles table here, which contains a listing of the vehicles that are insured in our insurance company. So we're going to click OK here, and we're going to rename this to vehicles here, double click and rename, and we're going to check the columns, make sure that they have the correct data type, as you can see. And I'm just checking here, the registration date should be a date because there's no time element here, it's just a date, and the inspection date is a date as well. The current value should be a fixed decimal number or currency, and the coverage start date should be a date, and the end date as well, coverage end date should be a date as well. And as you can see here, we've imported our vehicles table. All right, so after importing all these tables, we're gonna also create our calendar table. And a calendar table can be created using different ways, but the way that I prefer and that I see as the most efficient is creating the calendar table using Power Query, which is what we're going to do. And because our claims table has our claim date column here, which is what we're going to tie or create a relationship we're going to create a relationship between this column and the date column on the calendar table, because this column has dates between 2021 and 2024. So these years are what we're going to put in our calendar table. So to create the calendar table, we're going to right click here, we're going to go to new query and then blank query, and we're going to start with a blank query here. We're going to go to view and then advanced editor, where I'm going to paste some code here that I'm going to use to create a list of dates. So this list of dates here, so this is the formula here. As you can see, you can just pause the video and copy it. So this list of dates is going to start at the beginning of 2021, the 1st of January 2021. And to know how many days we will have in this list of dates here, we're going to subtract the 1st of January 2021 from the 31st of December 2024 and add 1 to that. And so this is going to determine how many items are going to be in the list from this starting point, and then the step between each item is going to be only 1 day. So this is what the duration part here represents. So if we click on done here, you'll see here that we get a list of dates between the 1st of January 2021 and the end of December 2024. So we're going to convert that to a table, as you can see. So a list is an object, a type of object in Power Query, but then we're going to convert that to a table because this is what we want here. And I'm going to name this column date, and we're going to change that to a date data type, and I'm going to rename that to calendar, for example. So this is going to be our calendar table, and we're going to add more columns to that calendar table. So we're going to select our date column here, and we're going to use the add column tab, which will add columns. We're going to go to the date here, and what we want to do is to add the year. So we're going to add that. This is going to be the year for our date, and then we're going to select the column again for the date here, and then go to date here. We're going to go to the month. We're going to add the month, which is going to be the month number. So for January, it's going to be 1, February 2, etc. And we're going to select the date column here again. I'm going to go to date, and then we're going to add the name of the month, which, as you can see, inserts the name of the month in the long form. But let's say we want that in the shorter form, because this is easier. So instead of January, February, March, we would want Jan, Feb, Mar instead. So to do that, we're going to select the month name, and instead now we're going to go to the transform tab instead of the add column tab, because we want the transformation to be applied on the same column. we're going to extract the first characters, and we're going to extract the first 3 characters here, and we're going to press OK. So this is going to extract the first 3 characters only. We're going to have the short form of the month name. We're going to go back again to the date column here. We're going to add another column. We're going to go to date here, and this time we're going to add the quarter of the year. So we're going to select here the quarter of the year. So as you can see here, I've added the quarter, but as you can see, this quarter is 1, 2, 3, 4 instead of Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4, which is probably what a lot of people would prefer. So to solve that problem, we're going to select the quarter column, and then we're going to go to transform, and we're going to click on format, and we're going to add a prefix, and the prefix is going to be the letter Q, and click OK. So as you can see here, now we managed to make it Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4. So let's add more columns. I'm going to go to the date column here, and we're going to go to add column. We're going to go to date, and let's add the name of the day here. So the name of the day is going to be Sunday, Monday, etc. So as you can see here, we get the name of the day in the long form. However, we probably prefer that in the shorter form. So we're going to go again to a transform tab after selecting the column, and we're going to extract the first 3 characters as well, and we're going to click OK. Oh, I actually extracted the last 3 characters, not the first, so I will do it again here. I need the first characters, not the last characters. Go to, and it's going to be first 3 characters. I'm going to click OK, and now we get the correct result. Alright, so this is a pretty decent calendar table for now. If we need more columns, we can add it, but this is a decent one for now. And we're going to then import all these tables to the data model. So to do that, we're going to go to the home tab here. We're going to close and apply. And now, as you can see here, they are being loaded to the data model. All right, so now after importing the tables here to the data model, we're going to go to our model view. And as you can see here, Power BI has created some relationships automatically. But for example, here we have the customers table connected directly to the claims table, and then it has an inactive relationship to the vehicles table, which is connected to the claims table as well. So this dotted line means an inactive relationship that can be activated using a DAX function, which is the use relationship function. But instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete this relationship here between the customers table and the claims table, the direct relationship, and I'm going to activate this relationship. I'm going to double click on it and make it active, and it's going to be a one-to-many. And now the customers table will still filter the claims table because the relationship is going to flow here from the customers table to the vehicles table. So the customers table filters the vehicles table, which in turn also filters the claims table. And here the relationship here between the regions and the claims table on the region ID is correct. And we just need to connect here the calendar table to the claim date here, so the date column on the calendar table to the claim date column on the claims table here. And we're going to make this relationship active. So now the calendar table is also going to filter our claims table. All right, so this is going to be our data model here, as you can see. All right, so now after importing our data and creating the data model, let's start creating our measures. And when creating measures, it's a good practice to create a measures table. So to create a measures table, under the home tab here, we're going to click on enter data to start creating a new table. And we're going to name the table underscore measures so that it always floats on top of all the other tables. And this is done using the underscore. So the underscore will give the table priority in terms of the alphabetical order, and will make it float on top of all the other tables, as you will see shortly. So now we're just going to load that. And as you can see here, our underscore measures table here floats on top of the of all the other tables. It's the top table here, and we're gonna start creating our measures. So the first measure we're gonna create is the summation of the premiums earned from the premiums column here on the claims table. So there's a column here that has the premium amount, which is this column here. So we're just gonna create a measure to sum up all the premiums earned. So we're gonna create a new measure here, which is gonna be premiums earned, and this is gonna be equal to the summation of the premium amount column here on the claims table. Now let's create another measure here, which is the claims paid. So we're just going to create a new measure here, and this is going to be the claims paid measure, and this is going to be the summation of the claims column here on the claims table. So this is going to be the summation of the claim amount column here on the claims table. So as you can see, I've created a claims paid measure. Now let's also create another measure here, which is the underwriting profit, which is the difference between the premiums earned and the claims paid. So the underwriting profit is going to be the premiums earned minus the claims paid. Usually as well, you should be accounting for the operating expenses, but for the sake of simplifying the case that we have here, we're just gonna make it the premiums earned minus the claims paid. So this is gonna be our underwriting profit here. So I'm gonna press enter, and as you can see here, we've created that measure as well. And let's also group these basic measures here into a folder under the measures table. To do that, we need to go to our model view first, and then select the first measure, press and hold Control to select the second measure, and then press and hold Control as well here to select the third measure. And here under the display folder, we're just gonna call them basic measures or basic KPIs, and this will make them under the same folder just to try to group our measures. And let's also delete this column here because we don't need it, the column 1 here in the table. So delete from model, as you can see here after right clicking, and we've managed to put all these basic measures here in a single folder. Let's also create a number of policies measure. So I'm going to create a new measure here, and I'm going to call it number of policies. And this is going to be the distinct count of the policies column, policy number column here on the claims table. So it's going to be the policy number column here put inside the distinct count function to get the number of policies. So this is going to give us the distinct count of the number of policies that we have in our insurance company. All right, so now after creating our measures, our basic measures, we're going to create our color palette. So to create our color palette, we're going to go to the View tab here, and under this Themes area, we're going to click on Customize Current Theme. And we're just going to name it Car Insurance Colors here. So this is going to be the name of our color palette, and then our color palette is going to be these colors here, which as you can see here, this is a screenshot that I took from the Adobe Color Wheel, and I used the Adobe Color Wheel to arrive at that color palette. So if you go to Google and then Google for Adobe Color Wheel, and then you start adding the initial color, which is the color of the logo of our insurance company. So here is the logo that I created, and I created this logo actually using Canva, and this logo will be in the example files that are linked below. So this color here our initial color, or the color of the logo. I just put it here. I put it here in the Adobe color wheel, and then the Adobe color wheel is going to suggest me some complementary colors, and I can also make some changes here to see more variations or so. But then this is how I arrived at my color palette. So I used the Adobe color wheel to arrive at my color palette. These are the colors that I chose. You could choose some different colors, but these are the colors that I arrived at and I chose. And I'll leave you that color palette as well as part of the files if you'd like to use the same color palette, or you can create your own color palette as well. So this is going to be our color palette here. So I'm going to take our first color here. Here's our first color. I'm going to add it, and then I'm going to add our second color. And here is our second color here. So I'm going to add my second color. And then we have our third color. Here's the third color of our color palette. And then here is the fourth color, which I'm extracting, as I told you before, using the PowerToys application. So if you download it and then you press Windows, Shift, and C on your keyboard, you're going to be able to extract the color of anything on the screen. You'll be extracting the hex code of the color, that is. So there are also some other colors, or some more colors here that are that are set by Power BI. I could set more colors even, but I'll just keep these colors here, and then I can change them later if I need to. So for now, I'm just gonna click on apply. And now I've set my color palette for the report so that I can always find these colors easily on the color palette of any element, so that it's easy to find the colors, and I don't even have to always copy the color codes all the time, because my color palette is now set. Alright, so now I'm gonna start with this KPI card at the top. I'm gonna create this KPI card. So here, this is a new KPI card, so I'm gonna insert that. And as you can see, the first KPI we need to input here is the premiums earned. So I'm going to add that to the KPI card. And then the second KPI is the claims paid here. So I'm just going to add that. And then the third one is the underwriting profit. So here we go, the underwriting profit. The background color for my KPI card, for this new KPI card, is going to be this dark blue. So I'm going to set this as the background color. I'm going to show you the benefit now of setting your color palette. So now if you go to the size and style here and you go to background, you're going to find the colors on your color palette here. So this is the theme color 1, which is my dark blue, and I'm able to set it easily. I don't have to put its code because it's already set as part of my color palette. And now we're going to set this cyan blue that is for our cards. So this is going to be our card color. So we're going to go to cards here and then background, and I'm going to set the cyan blue. And as you can see here, we managed to set our cyan blue here. Let's also change the size of our callout values. So these are the callout values here. These are our callout values. We're just going to change their sizes to be 25. So we're going to change our callout values here to be 25 only. so they are a bit smaller. And then for these labels here, so the labels here, we need to increase their sizes. So I'm going to increase their sizes to 12. So I'm going to go here to the label. Now let's add these average KPIs here at the bottom. So we need to create some average measures. So the first one here is going to be the average claim amount. So I'm going to create a new measure here. I'm going to call it average claim amount. And this will be by using the average function on the claims table. And I'm going to average the claim amount column. All right, and then I'm gonna create the average premium earned, or premiums earned, the average premium earned here. This is gonna be by averaging the premium amount column. And then I'm going to get the average underwriting profit per policy. So we've created a number of policies measure here. So the average underwriting amount is going to be the total underwriting amount divided by the number of policies. Average underwriting amount per policy. This is going to be per policy. This is going to be equal to dividing the underwriting profit by the number of policies. All right. So these are going to be my average KPIs, and I'm going to go here. I'm going to put them in a folder. Okay, so I'm just going to select them here. Select, press and hold Control and keep on selecting all of them, and then I'm gonna call that average KPIs maybe, or average measures. Let's call them average measures. All right, so these will be under a folder, you know, by themselves, so that, you know, we'd be sorting our measures properly there. All right, so to add these KPIs, these average KPIs here, we need to add them to the reference labels section. So we need to go here, we need to select, and then, you know, under the formatting tab here, and this is, and under the formatting section here, we're gonna go to reference labels, and we're gonna add the first one here, which is gonna be the premiums earned. So under the series premiums earned, we're going to add the average premiums earned. And then under the claims page, we're going to add the average claim amount. And under the underwriting profit, we're going to add the average underwriting profit per policy. And we need to make sure to change that to a currency, 0 decimal places for each one. So here it is. We're just changing them here, changing the number formatting. And we can even change the title that appears here. So instead of the field name, let's make that a bit shorter for the average underwriting amount. We're just going to call it average underwriting amount instead of average underwriting amount per policy. We just know that it's the average underwriting actually, it should be average underwriting profit. So we're just going to name it average underwriting profit. And I think this should be average underwriting profit per policy. So we're just going to change the name of the measure as well. And I think we're good here, but and I think average here should be shortened as well. So let's also shorten the average here. So instead of the full average word, we're just gonna name it average like this, and just put a space. So now it looks quite short and looks good. And as you can see here, when we added the reference labels, it shows this gray color, which I I think it matches our colors pretty well. So it goes well with this cyan blue and with the dark blue. So I'm just gonna keep this gray, this tint of gray that it added. Actually, it looks good. So as the saying goes, you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Let's also add a shadow to our KPI card, because our KPI card has a shadow here. As you can see, there is a shadow. So we're gonna add a shadow here. I'm gonna select that, and then I'm gonna go to the shadow section here under size and style. I'm gonna go to the shadow section, and I'm gonna add an outside shadow here, a black one. And the position is going to be bottom right. So I actually used the default setting here for shadowing, and I think it looks good, so I'm just going to keep it this way. So this is how we created our KPI card at the top. So now we've finished creating the KPI card at the top. We might adjust its size later on so as to fit it in the different places in the dashboard. So because we're going to create you know, some sort of placeholders here on the dashboard. As you can see, we're gonna divide it, so we're gonna do that later, but for now we've created the KPI card at the top. All right, so now we're gonna create this claims by region chart here, this Azure map here. So I'm going to insert an Azure map, and I'm going to take my region, put it in the location. So this is the region field from the regions table. And I'm also gonna put the claims paid here to be my bubble size. All right, so you know, the more the claims, the larger the bubble size here. And then here under the settings, under the bubble layer, I'm gonna go to the colors here, and I'm gonna change the colors so that it would be a gradient. And then so this will be the lowest value, this light blue here, and then the highest value will be a kind of a light red. I think this one would be good, or I'm also just gonna add here the hex color of the actual light red that I used, and I'm gonna click OK. And we also we forgot to base this on the claims paid field. So we need to make sure to base this on the claims paid field. And there you go. We will get this heat map. And you can see here that the reddest one, you know, the one with the darkest tint of red is Arkansas. So this is the state with the highest number or the highest amount of claims paid, as you can see here. So it stands out, and you know, this is an insight that we can get from our chart here. So as you can see here, now we've created our map chart. You can of course change the colors if you want to, but I find these colors, this set of colors, a good set of colors, but you can change that if you want. You can change the colors of your gradient or make it something else. It's really up to you, and it's a personal preference. I'm also going to reduce the size of the bubbles here, so I'm going to make them a minimum of 6 pixels here and a maximum of 26, let's say, or 25. I think this looks better, and we'll keep the range scaling here at auto. So as you can see here, now we managed to create our map chart, and we can also change its title to be claims by region instead of claims paid by region, make it a bit shorter. So now we've created this map chart here. All right, so now we're gonna create the claims by gender and marital status chart here. So we're gonna create a 100% stacked bar chart like this one. And for that, we're gonna add the gender field from the customers table on the y-axis. And we're gonna add the number of claims, here. So this is going to be based on the number of claims. So, and apparently we haven't created the number of claims measure here, so we need to create one. So let's create a number of claims measure. So this is going to be number of claims, and it's going to be the count rows of the claims table. So now we're going to add that to the x-axis here. All right, so we've added the number of claims here to the x-axis, and we're also going to add the marital status to the legend. So there you go. We've created this chart here, and the colors might be a bit different from what we have. So we can always, of course, adjust the colors of the different series. Okay, so for the marital status here, for divorced, it's dark blue, but then here it's a gray, so we can change the married one to a gray. So we can select here our chart, and we can change the legend here. It's actually not the legend, it's the bars. We can change the bars here. So we're going to change here the married one. So for the married one, we made it actually a gray one. So I'm just going to get the gray color here. And we're just going to add that gray color. We're going to make the married bar a gray color, and I think it's one of those grays actually, so we can try any of these gray colors. Okay, this one looks good. And then we can also change this series here, the single, to a yellow one. So I can go back again to the bars, and we can change the single to the yellow one. All right, and the widowed, we're just gonna keep this purple one or so. And now we can start showing also the data labels. So we can show the data labels as well. All right, so this looks good. And maybe the gray, it's better that it would be a darker gray, so we can just make it a darker gray, a bit of a darker gray, so that it stands out with the white font here. I think this looks good, fairly good. And we're going to make sure as well to remove the background. So we're going to remove the background of that, and we're actually going to remove the background of all the charts later. So the plot area background, no, I don't think it's the plot area background. It's actually gonna be under the size and style. The background, we're just gonna remove the background like this. All right, so we've created the basic chart here for the claims paid by gender and marital status. This is actually, I've actually added the claims paid to this, but it's actually not the claims paid that should be added here. I'm sorry, we created the number of claims, so we're actually gonna keep the number of claims here. We're gonna add the number of claims instead of the claims paid. So we had just created the number of claims, so we're just gonna add it here to the x-axis instead of the claims paid. I made a mistake and added the claims paid. You could add the claims paid, so it's not a big deal. If you want to show the claims paid, then show the claims paid, or you could show the number of claims. I chose to show the number of claims here, so that we can get an insight on how many people, or what kinds of people, the categories of people in terms of their marital status and their gender, that have a tendency to make insurance claims. All right, so this is our claims by gender and marital status. We could also change the title here actually, so let's just make it claims by gender and marital status to shorten it a bit. All right, So that's it for this chart. All right, so now we're gonna create the claims by age group chart. And to create that chart, we need to calculate the customer's age, and we need to also calculate the age group for the customer. So to do that, I'm gonna do that in Power Query because I prefer to create calculated columns in Power Query as it's more efficient. So we're just gonna go to transform data here. And you can also create that calculated column in DAX if you want to, but I'm going to calculate it using Power Query. So we're just gonna add a new column here. We're gonna add a custom column. So this new column is gonna be added to the customers table. And we're gonna use here this formula. So here, for this formula here, we're creating a variable called birth date, and we're putting the date of birth for the customer in it. And then we're also creating another variable to calculate the current date, which we're calculating it using the date time.local now function. So this will get us the date and time of right now. And then we're gonna extract the date from that. All right, and then I have a variable here called simple age, which is simply the difference between the year of the current date and the birth date. So this will give us a simple number of years that the customer has been, alive since the date of birth. But then to make it more accurate, we're gonna check here. We're gonna make a check that if the current date is less than the simple difference between is less than adding a number of years, which is the difference between the current date, the year of the current date, and the birth date. So this means that we're checking if the customer's birthday has come this year, in the current year. Let's say we're in 2024. So we're checking that if the customer's birthday has come in 2024 or not. So let's say that the customer is born in December and we're currently in July 2024, then the customer's birth date in 2024 has not come yet. So if the customer's birth date has not come, we're going to subtract a 1 from the simple age. But if it has come, if the customer has celebrated his birthday this year, then we're going to subtract a 0. So this is simply what this is doing here, and this will be in the corrected age. So we're going to click OK here, and this will calculate the customer's age. So for example, this customer here was born in November 1942. So we're currently in 2024. Okay, so 2022 will be 80 years, right? In 2022, this customer will be 80 years. We're currently in 2024. So, in 2023, he will be 81, and he's not 82 yet because this customer is born in November, and we're currently in July. So the customer is not 82 yet. He's just 81, right? Because if we had been in November, then the customer would have been 82, but he's currently 81. So this formula, aims to calculate the customer's age precisely and account, for whether the customer's birth date this year has come or not. All right, and I'll leave you the formula as well. I'll leave it to you as part of the example files, or you can just copy it as actually from the screen. You can just stop the screen and type the formula, because you're supposed to follow me step by step in this tutorial. All right, and we're gonna make the age a whole number, okay, because the age of course is supposed to be a whole number. And then we're gonna create an age bracket column here, or like an age group, right? So we're gonna add a new custom column here. We're gonna call it age group, right? So this is to classify the customers into different age groups. So we're checking. It's a simple if statement here. So if the customer's age is greater than or equal to 18 and is less than or equal to 24, so between 18 and 24 is 18 to 24, etc. Between 25 and 34, 25 to 34, etc. And if until all the way, if the customer is greater than, so if he doesn't fall into any of these age brackets, then he's 65 plus, and we're just going to click OK, and this will calculate the age group for the customer, and the age group will be a text. So now we've created these two columns here. Of course, you can always stop the screen, pause the video, and copy these formulas, type them. And as I told you can also do them in DAX if you want to, but I prefer to do them in Power Query. All right, so now I'm just going to close and apply here because I've created these calculated columns, and then they should pop up here under the customers table. So as you can see here, they popped up under the customers table. I don't want the age to be summarized actually, so don't summarize that. And we're good now. So now let's create a simple simple bar chart here. So it's a bar chart that shows us the claim amount by age group. So let's create this bar chart. It's going to be a clustered bar chart, and it's going to show us the claim amount by age group. So here's the age group, and here is the claims paid. All right. So we've got that created. That's awesome. All right, and let's show the data labels as well. So let's just go to the data labels and turn them on. Beautiful. And let's also remove the background. It would be useful if we remove the background for that chart, and we've removed it. All right. And we could also, I think there are grid lines here, so we could remove these grid lines as well. So we could search for grid lines. We don't want these vertical grid lines. We could also remove the grid lines from here as well. Let's just remove them, as I prefer the cleaner look without the grid lines. All right, so we've created the claims paid by age group. We could just change the title as well. This search bar is very useful actually. So claims by age group, or claim amounts by age group. We could call it claims paid by age group, claim amount by age group. Let's call it claim amount by age group. Claim amount by age group. All right, so here we go. You could also change the claims paid by the number of claims. So you could also do the number of claims actually. This would be pretty nice, so that we know what age group is creating the largest number of claims, and it's clear here that people who are 65 plus are creating the largest number of claims. And I think the claim amount is better actually, so I'm just going to make that change actually. Claims by age group. I think this provides more insights, so I'm just going to change it. I think it's better to show the claims by age group, and unsurprisingly, people who are 65 plus are the people who tend to have the highest number of claims. I mean, this is pretty realistic, I believe, although the data set is completely fake. But I think this could be closest to reality. So that's it for this chart here. All right, so let's now create this chart here for the top 10 cars by claim amount and frequency. So to do that, we're gonna need to create a column that has the make and model of the car, because currently in our vehicles table, we have a make model and a make column and a model column. So we need to create a column that concatenates the make and model with a space in between them. And to do that, we're also going to do it in Power Query. So I'm going to go here to transform data, and on our vehicles table, let's refresh that, and I'm going to select the make, and then I'm going to select the model. Okay, so make, and then press and hold Control and select the model. So it's very important to select them in this order: the make and then the model. All right, and then we're going to go to transform. Actually, we need to go to the add column tab here, and then we're going to click on merge columns. And then we need to do a merge with a space, and this will be make and model. All right, so this is going to give us the make and model. So you'll see here that we're going to have a new column here having our make and model. So now we're just going to close and apply here. So we've created that column that's going to enable us to conduct this analysis here for the top 10 cars by claim amount and frequency. So then we're going to insert here a clustered bar chart. All right, so clustered bar chart here. And then we're gonna drag and drop the make and model. And we're also gonna drag a measure which is the claim amount. Let's go to basic measures here, and then it's actually the claim amount or the claims paid. Yes, so this is the one. We're gonna drag it and drop it here, and then we're gonna create a filter here on the make and model, and the filter will be a top end filter. We're gonna filter for only the top 10 by claims paid, and we're gonna apply that filter here. So now we can see that we have the top 10 cars by claim amount. We're also gonna add the frequency. So we're gonna create a claim frequency measure, which is gonna be by dividing the number of claims by the number of policies. So we're gonna divide here the claims, number of claims, by the policies, number of policies. This is going to give us the claim frequency, and we're going to add that as well here to the x-axis so that we have the claims paid and the claim frequency. And let's turn on the data labels here. So we're going to turn on the data labels. And let's make sure that our claim frequency is actually a percentage. And with 0 decimal places as well. And let's also make sure that the claim frequency here, so on the x-axis, on the values, the claim frequency, we're going to make the display units none so that we can see the claim frequency. And actually there is a quick change here that I need to make on the number of claims, because the number of claims measure shouldn't be the count of the rows of the claims table. It should actually be the distinct count. So I've just reviewed that, and it should be the distinct count of the claims, the claim number column here. So I'm just going to close the bracket and press enter, and as you can see here, now we get the percentages to display correctly, just like the screenshot. And now we get the percentages to display correctly here. So this is the claim frequency here, which is number of claims by the number of insurance policies. All right, so now we're gonna start creating this toggle here, or this slicer at the top, that allows us to filter this chart by either the make or the make and model. So to do that, we're going to need to first create a parameter, and this is a parameter that will depend on fields here. So we're going to click on new parameter by fields, and this is going to be make versus make and model. And this parameter is going to allow us to switch between the make and the make and model fields on the vehicle table. So we're going to drag and drop the make and the make a model, and you can see here there's a checkbox that adds a slicer to the page when creating the parameter. So this will create a slicer by default here. So as you can see here, there's a slicer that's been created, but this is the classic slicer. What we're going to do is that we're going to switch it to the new slicer in Power BI. We're going to move the title of the slicer here, and let's just make it a bit wider, and we're going to make some changes to it. We're going to change its formatting. Let's make it have 0 padding. So under the padding here, I'm going to make the padding 0. So you can see here, because I want to minimize its footprint, and then for the callout values, so we're gonna go here on callout values. Let's make sure that they are in the middle, that they are middle aligned, okay? And you can see here in the default state, they are gonna be black. However, if we go to the hover state, in the hover state, we'd want them, when we hover over them, we'd want them to turn into white. The values themselves, these values, we're gonna turn them into white on hovering, because their background is also gonna be blue. So we're gonna make them white, and for the buttons on hovering, they are gonna be filled in blue. So let's see here, when we hover, the text becomes white and the button becomes blue. All right, and then in the default state, let's make sure that if they are not selected, they're going to be filled with a gray. All right, so that they are gray when they are not selected, and then when they get selected, let's actually change that, because we want them when they get selected to be blue. So now we're gonna change here the selected state to be having a blue background, and we're gonna keep them as white when selected. So now you can see here when we switch to the make, they become blue and white, and also when hovering, and while they are not selected, they become gray. And we're gonna reduce its size a bit, like this, and make sure it displays the make and the make a model. And we're also gonna remove its background. So let's go here to the size and style. Let's remove the background. So now this looks pretty much similar, close enough to what we have here. All right, and we can always adjust it later, but I think this looks good. And actually what we need to do now is to change the make a model here to be the parameter instead. So you can see here that the parameter we created has created a table here with a parameter in it. So we're just gonna add that, and now you will see here that when we select either the make or the make a model, this gets switched here on the chart. There's a toggle between the make and the make a model. And that's pretty much it for this chart and the slicer. We're gonna also, of course, make some changes later and add this filter icon, which indicates that these are filters. You know, it's a visual indication to the user that these are filters. So we're gonna add these final touches at the end, but pretty much, you know, the core of this chart and toggle or slicer has been done. So now we're going to create these slicers here on the left. So we're gonna insert a slicer, just a classic slicer in Power BI, and then we're going to add the year from the calendar table. So I'm just gonna add the year here from the calendar table, and then we're gonna change the settings for the slicer to be a drop down instead of the between style. And also under the size and style, we're gonna change the background to be this dark blue background. We're also going to change the values here to be white so that they can stand out in this dark blue background. So you can see here this all is in white. And also the background for the values is going to be this blue color, so that, you know, when we open the drop down, we can see that we now have a blue background with white text, as you can see here. And we'll also change the header here to be having a white color, and we can change the header to be claim year instead of the year, just to make it more clear. And we could make it make the slicer smaller even. So now we've created the first slicer here, and as you can see here, when we add a drop down menu here, we get some blank values. So what we're going to do is that we're gonna filter this slicer here. We're gonna add basic filtering so that it doesn't include the blank values. So now it doesn't include the blank values, as you can see here. We will also make the border here white. And I believe now we are done with this slicer here for the claim year. Alright, so now let's create the car age band slicer, which we have here. So this is the car age band slicer. So to do that, we need to calculate the car age band. So we need to create a calculated column for the car age band. So the car age band is basically a column that shows, you know, which age band the car is. If the model, you know, is, well, if the car, you know, is a year of production of 1961, then it's between 1960 and 1970, for example, and so on. So this is what we're going to create. So we're going to do that in Power Query, and so we're going to go here to transform data, and we're going to go to the vehicles table, and we're going to add a new calculated column here. We're going to add a custom column, and this will be the car age band. And for this, I'm going to use a formula here. So this formula will be this formula here. So this formula basically tests the year column here, which is the year of production for the car, and checks, you know, which year it is in, and assigns an age band depending on the year of production. So if the car was produced between 1900 and 1950, then it goes to this band. If it's been produced between 1951 and 1960, then it goes into this band, and so on and so forth, all the way until cars that were produced after 2020. So we're going to click OK, and this is our car age band. And please note that our cars actually are not older than 2000, but, you know, I created this comprehensive car age band column just in case, you know, you had future data or something that would go into these age bands. So this would be, so this would still suffice, or it would still encompass these other years of production, these older years of production. And you could also, you know, create another table and create age bands in it, and you can then join it to this table or merge it. So, you know, there are many ways to do that, but we'll just do it this way for now. So I'm just going to close and apply here. So we've now created the car age band column here. I'm just going to copy this slicer so that it retains the same formatting, and I'm just going to remove the year here and add the car age band instead. And what you can do here is to change the header so as to make it car age band. And now, as you can see here, we have this car age band, as you can see. All right, so now we've created the car age band slicer, and of course the slicer works and it slices the other visuals. All right, so now that we've finished creating our visuals, we're gonna put the final touches to our dashboard and create a background and do some final touches to our visuals as well. All right, so to do that, we're gonna open PowerPoint. So we're gonna open PowerPoint here, a new file, and what we're going to do is that we're gonna make this layout, just make it a blank slide, and I'm gonna copy here. I'm gonna get my color palette that I showed to you at the beginning of the video that I chose. This is a screenshot on my color palette, right? And you can of course have a different color palette depending on the project you're working on or the company that you're working with. They could provide you with a color palette, or you could choose a different color palette. So this can be different from one person to another. And I'm also going to create a new slide here so that I can create the background for my dashboard. And my background is going to be a gradient background that will depend on some of the colors here in my color palette, right? So I'm going to right click here and format background, and this is going to be a gradient fill. And you know, I can choose the colors here on my gradient. So I'm going to choose this color, this purple color here, where my color palette is the first color. Let's say more colors. I'm just going to choose that to be my first color. I could choose that, and then choose the second color maybe to be this cyan blue or this aqua blue. So I'm going to choose that, let's say. All right, and then maybe choose the third one to be this lavender purple. So I can choose that as well. So it's really up to you. It's an artistic thing, and you could choose, you know, different colors or so, and or make a different gradient background. But I think actually we should make the ones in the middle both this aqua blue. So I'm just going to do that. So, you know, there's a bit of trial and error in it, and you know, sometimes you don't know exactly what you need to get out. So it's a bit of an iterative process. So maybe two colors here, two light colors in the middle, and then maybe two darker colors, you know, in the edges. I think this would be a good combination. All right. So I think this could be a good thing now, and you could change the angle as well. You could keep on changing the angle. So let's make it maybe 50 or 60 degrees. I think this looks good. This could be slightly different from what I produced on my on the demo dashboard, but it doesn't matter. As long as you produce something that looks good, you should be okay. And then I'm gonna insert here a shape, a large rounded rectangular shape like this. All right, and let's reduce here the rounding of the edges. Let's make it in the middle, and for me, I'm gonna make its size here, so I'm gonna make it the same as the one I produced on the demo, which in this case is gonna be, the height is gonna be 17.15 and the width is 32.72 centimeters. All right. And if your fields are in inches, you can just type centimeters, cm after the numbers, or you can convert them to inches or so. And then make sure to make it in the middle. So you can see here we have these lines here, these broken lines that indicate, you know, that we are in the middle of the whole slide, that this shape is in the middle. And let's make it a lighter blue color. All right, so maybe we could choose this, and then we could go here and make it even lighter. So more colors, and let's just make it lighter. All right, so this one is almost the same color as mine, or I could get the color of my ones. So these, I could make it the same color, the exact same color. So I could just get the hex color, and I will just paste it here. So I did that using the Paratoys application that I spoke about at the beginning of the video. I'll leave you a link down below in the description as well so that you can download it. So Paratoys is a great tool. I'd highly recommend that you download it. And then here on the shape format, let's make sure that the shape does not have any outline. All right. So now we've created this container here that's gonna contain our dashboard. Let's also add some shadow to it. So I'm just gonna add here a shadow to it to beautify it, to make it more beautiful. And then I'm gonna insert as well here another shape. I'm gonna insert another shape here. So let's make sure that these shapes we insert for now are dark, are in a darker color. Let's reduce here the rounding as well. So these will be the placeholders for our different visuals. All right. So this will be the placeholder for our KPI card, for example. Okay. And there's a bit of trial and error as well on what the size of these would be. So I'm just going to take the size of what I have here already, which is 4.02 by 29.22 centimeters. I'm just gonna try to save you some time, but you might need to do some trial and error on, some attempts on what the size should be. All right, and then I'm just gonna copy this. So press and hold Control and drag using your cursor, and this will be the placeholder for our logo as well. All right, and we could also take the size of what I have on my template or the one I created before, which is 4.02 by 2.42. So actually, just to make it almost the same size, and let's make sure to leave some space here on the right and between the different visuals as well, and on the left leave some space as well. All right, maybe reduce this space, and all right, and then this looks good. All right, so it's, as I told you, it's an iterative process, and you might not get it right from the very first time you do it. Okay, so it's a bit of an iterative process. You could just keep on trying and adjusting until you arrive at something that you're happy with. All right, so I'm just gonna copy this, and I'm gonna create placeholders for the other visuals. So I'm gonna create placeholders here for these filters. For example, I'm gonna take the exact size that I had, 4.62 by 9.14. So this will be 4.62 by 9.14. All right, and I'm just gonna copy this as well. So this will be the placeholder here for the claims by gender and marital status. So this one will be 4.59 by 9.87. So as I told you, you might need to do some trial and error until you arrive at something that looks good and that you're happy with. And this one, I'm just gonna increase the size here. So this will be the placeholder for this claims by reason map chart here. And then you could either Control C to copy and then Control V to paste, or press and hold Control and drag, okay, to the right. And this will also copy this shape here. And so it's important that the shapes would be aligned with each other like this so that they look good, they look aligned. And this will be what, 7.12 by 9.87. It's almost the same, yeah. Make sure to align the shapes here, and I think you should be okay. And let's also create the large one here So this also is a placeholder for another visual here, which is our top 10 cars by claim amount. All right. So this is like the main frame of our dashboard here, where we're gonna place our visuals inside. Okay, I'm gonna select all these shapes inside. Press and hold Control and select. Keep on selecting to select all of them, and then under shape format here, first we're gonna remove the outline. Let's remove the outline, and let's also give them all a shadow, and let's also make them a lighter color. So the same color that we have here. So I'm just gonna pick it here using the Power Toys tool, the color picker on the Power Toys tool. So I'm more fill colors. I'm just gonna paste here this hex code, and now you can see here that we've arrived here at the main frame of our dashboard, as you can see here. Now we're gonna be able to make this the background of our dashboard so that it looks good. All right, so this is what we're going to do. So to save this, we need to save it as a JPG picture. So you can press Control Shift and S on your keyboard, Control Shift S, and I'm gonna save it here as a background. Okay, so background, and we're gonna save this as a JPG, and we're gonna save. And we're gonna save just this slide because we want to only save this slide here containing our background. All right, so we managed to save this. You could also save this PowerPoint presentation as well, so that you can have it. I do already have it, so I might not need to save it, but you could save it, Control and S, and save it as well. All right, so now I'm gonna change the background here for my dashboard here. I'm gonna change it, so I'm gonna go here to the formatting, canvas background, and I'm just gonna use this background file here as my background. And now I'm gonna start aligning these shapes to the backgrounds that I created. All right, so this one, first we need to remove the background for this chart here. So I'm gonna go here to size and style, background. I'm just gonna remove the background to make it transparent, and I'm just gonna adjust the sizes here to fit in these frames or these templates that I have. Let's also make sure we have the background for this one, for the claims by region, removed as well. All right, and just keep adjusting this until it fits in these shapes. And it's all about adjusting these to fit in these shapes. Here as well, we could make some changes. So on the x-axis, let's just remove the values from the x-axis and remove the title, and we're just gonna adjust these, and we're just gonna adjust this one as well here, the car age band and the claim year. And we're going to adjust the size of this as well to fit in this frame. So as you can see here, we're getting closer to what we want to produce. And here on the x-axis, let's just remove the values from the x-axis as well, because we know that these values, we don't need the values on the x-axis. We know that this is money, and let's just keep adjusting until we arrive at something that we're satisfied with. So you can keep adjusting like that. And here, let's just adjust this as well. So what we need to do here is on the size and style, I think it's actually on the layout here. We need to the maximum rows shown to be 1 and the columns shown to be 2. Let's reduce the space between the buttons as well. All right, and we could also make some changes here to the buttons. Let's remove the border of the buttons. Okay, and as you can see here, so and this should be the top 10 because we're actually targeting the top 10 by claims paid. So let's do the title as the top 10 claims paid. So whether by make a model or by make only. And we could also basically group these two visuals so that they become one visual and they can be moved together like this. So I think we're very close now, pretty much achieved what we want. And we have a similar look to the dashboard that we have here in the screenshot. So you could do some small adjustments here and there, but we're pretty much there. And we can now insert the logo for our insurance company here. So I'm just going to add here our logo. So I'm just going to insert, I'm going to browse to it. And there you go. Here is the logo for our insurance company, which you can see that the colors are actually, the color palette is inspired from the logo. And I did that. I created this logo on Canva. So I'll leave you a link to if you'd like to subscribe to Canva. Of course, Canva is a paid service, but if you're interested, I think it's a very nice service or a very nice website for doing any kind of design. It's very useful. It's a lot easier than Photoshop. So, I personally do recommend it. And they have a free version as well, but it doesn't have as much features as the paid version. But I think it's a great website. Let's also add the filter icon that we have here, so as to indicate that these are filters. So we're just going to insert here, and I created this filter icon on Canva as well. So this is a filter icon with the same color here. So you can add that here. For example, all right, and you can adjust its size and all. And I'm just going to copy, so Control C to copy here and add it as well to the right of this. So you can add it here as well to indicate that this is a filter. So yeah, I created this filter icon on Canva, but there are other free options as well, but maybe with not as many features. So there is a website here called Flat Icon. You can search for filter here, flaticon.com. You can search for filter, and then you could choose a filter icon. But the thing is, I colored it with the same color as our logo. But then if you need to change its color, you will need the paid version of the website as well. And there is attribution required, but if you buy a Canva subscription, there's no attribution required. So it's up to you really where you would like to get your icons from. There's so many options on the internet. I chose Canva, but you could choose other options as well. All right, so this is pretty much our dashboard. You could do some small adjustments here and there, but this is pretty much the same dashboard here created. All right, guys, so in this video we've illustrated how to create a dashboard from start to finish, step by step. So if you followed along with me during the whole video, you should be able to create this dashboard at the end. So I hope that this video was helpful for you, and let me know if you have any questions regarding this dashboard, and let me know as well if you'd like us to create more videos, more step-by-step videos like this one. We might also create more videos in the future to show more techniques, because there are more techniques for creating dashboards than this one. You can create multiple pages and all, so this is just a single page. So let me know below what you think, and I think that we might be creating more videos of this one, but let me know as well below, create more videos. I'd really appreciate if you could leave a comment below and like the video and subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to be notified with all of our future videos. And thank you so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video.